It's right about time to bring you up to speed with what's happening globally and in Nigeria. We begin with Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry resigns amid chaos. Russia detains Korean for alleged espionage. Orban alleges Trump won't aid Ukraine. India on edge over religion-based citizenship law. And Biden's 2025 budget includes tax reform, border funds, and others. Ariel Henry, Haiti's prime minister, has submitted his resignation, appealing for calm in the country amidst surging violence. The 74-year-old, who led the country since the 2021 assassination of his last president, spoke on Monday, signifying he will step down once a transition council and interim prime minister have been appointed. Henry is presently stranded in Puerto Rico after being stopped by armed gangs from returning home. A senior U.S. official said he was free to remain there or travel elsewhere, though security in Haiti would need to improve for him to feel comfortable returning home. The alliance of gangs led by Jimmy Barbecue Sharizia went on the rampage when Henry left the country in late February, looking to rally backing for a Kenyan-led foreign policy intervention that his government had argued was needed to restore order so elections could be held. They had warned of civil war if Henry, who became prime minister after President Jovenel Moise's assassination in 2021, did not step down. On Monday, regional leaders of the Caribbean community, CARICOM, had held an emergency summit in neighboring Jamaica to deliberate the framework for a political transition, which the U.S. had urged to be expedited as armed gangs wreaked turmoil amid repeatedly postponed elections. Henry, viewed as corrupt by numerous in Haiti, was not at the summit, which took place behind closed doors. In February, the Prime Minister was supposed to step down and has been effectively locked out of the country since the unrest soared, landing in Puerto Rico last week after being denied entry into the Dominican Republic, which shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti. Guyana's president and the current chair of CARICOM, Mohamed Irfan Ali, said the emergency talks which took place in Jamaica were seeking to bring stability and normalcy to Haiti, the poorest country in the region. United States Secretary Antony Blinken was also at the summit and pledged an additional $100 million for a United Nations-backed force to stabilize the country, as well as $30 million in humanitarian assistance. Blinken said the meeting was critical for Haiti and the entire region. The U.S. State Department said in a statement that the U.S. backed a proposal developed in partnership with CARICOM and Haitian stakeholders to expedite a political transition through a formation of a broad-based independent presidential college. The body will be comprised of 2 observers and 7 voting members, including representatives from a number of coalitions, the private sector, civil society, and 1 religious leader. It will be tasked with meeting the immediate needs of Haitian people, enabling the security missions deployment, and creating security conditions necessary for free elections, Blinken said. Henry was free to remain in the U.S. territory or to travel elsewhere, and that the Prime Minister had confirmed his resignation in a call with Blinken, a U.S. official in Puerto Rico said. Now, Russia has imprisoned a South Korean in the country's east, accusing him of spying, according to reports citing the authorities, and identified the man as Baek Won-sun and said he had been detained in the city of Vladivostok at the start of the year before being transferred to Moscow for investigative actions at the end of last month. Baek, whose case has been classified as top secret, is being held in Levortovo prison, where a court on Monday ordered his detention to be prolonged until June 15th, reports said. The agency cited an unidentified law enforcement official as saying Baek had passed on information constituting state secrets to foreign intelligence services. No further details were made public. In a statement, South Korea's Ministry of Foreign Affairs said its consulate had been providing assistance since it became aware that Baek had been detained. It refused to give more details on the matter, citing the ongoing probe. Reports said Baek was a missionary who had been involved in rescuing North Korean defectors and providing humanitarian aid. He was detained in January, a few days after arriving in Vladivostok by land from China, the agency said. The incident marks the first time a South Korean has been detained in Russia on espionage charges. Russia labeled South Korea an unfriendly country in 2022 because of its support for Western sanctions against Moscow over its invasion of Ukraine. Russia has also boosted ties with North Korea after leader Kim Jong-un visited Russia last September and met Russian President Vladimir Putin. The United States and others have accused North Korea of providing weapons to Russia for use in its war in Ukraine in exchange for technological know-how to advance Pyongyang's military modernization program. Both countries have denied the allegations. Over the past year, Russia has detained several foreign nationals and accused them of committing various offenses. U.S. journalist Evan Gershkovich was detained for alleged espionage in March 2023 and is also being held at Lovortovo prison, which is notorious for its severe conditions and keeping detainees in near total isolation. His detention has been extended until the end of March, with court proceedings being held closed doors. Russian U.S. journalist Alsu Kurmashiva in October was detained for failing to register as a foreign agent and later charged with spreading false information about the Russian military. Her detention has been extended until April. Espionage carries a maximum jail term of 20 years in Russia. Gershkovich and Kurmashiva both deny the charges placed against them. Viktor Orban, Hungarian Prime Minister, says ex-US President Donald Trump has told him he will not give a penny to the war in Ukraine. Orban related the comments by Trump, who is running November's presidential poll, during an interview late on Sunday after he traveled to Florida to meet Trump. There was no immediate response from Trump's team on these comments from Orban. Orban often calls for a ceasefire and peace talks in the Russia-Ukraine war, which recently entered its third year. He also urges Trump is best qualified to end the conflict, having expressed hope for his return to power. A statement from Trump's campaign did not mention Ukraine, but said the pair on Friday deliberated issues affecting both nations, including their respective border security. Orban annoyed fellow European Union leaders by meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin in October and has maintained relations with the Kremlin since Russia invaded Ukraine. He has also spoken out against Western sanctions on Moscow. U.S. President Joe Biden criticized the Trump-Orban meeting, saying the Hungarian leader was looking for dictatorship. European leaders have long been nervous that another Trump presidency will mean decreasing U.S. support for both Ukraine and NATO. Moving forward, protests have flared up in parts of India over the Narendra Modi government's implementation of a controversial citizenship law ahead of national polls, as security forces rushed to areas of national capital that had earlier been epicenters of large demonstrations against the legislation. Monday's notification of the Citizenship Amendment Act (CAA) introduces the country's first religion-based citizenship test after decades of a constitutional setup that swears, at least officially, by secularism. Critics say the law discriminates against Muslim asylum seekers. The amendment expedites citizenship for refugees from India's neighboring nations who are Hindu, Sikh, Christian, or from other religious minorities, but not if they are Muslim. As a result, the benefits do not extend to the Rohingya from Myanmar, persecuted Ahmadiyya from Pakistan, or the Hazara from Afghanistan, for instance. Parliament passed the CAA in 2019, but Modi's Bharatiya Janata Party (BJP) government has since stalled its implementation. Months-long protests against the law brought parts of New Delhi to a standstill as the capital was hit by the sectarian violence in early 2020. Over 100 people were killed in the violence, mostly Muslims. After the government on Monday announced the notification of the law, protests broke out at the Jamia Millia Islamia University in New Delhi, students said, according to report. Soon, forces arrived as tensions rose. Police were also rushed to northeast Delhi, which had witnessed some of the worst violence after the passage of the 2019 law. Security forces also conducted flag marches in areas close to Shaheen Bagh, which became a hub of protest against the CAA in 2019 and 2020. Separately, in the northeastern state of Assam, activists from numerous organizations, including the All Assam Students Union ASU, burned copies of the law and called for a statewide shutdown on Tuesday. Similar protests are also lined up in other regional states, including Meghalaya and Tripura, by various student groups. Many of those groups are critical of the law not because of allegations that it discriminates against Muslims, but because they oppose any influx of refugees from other nations. Joe Biden, United States President, has unveiled a $7.3 billion budget proposal that underscores his attempts to pursue numerous progressive objectives while posing for more funding to combat crime, restrict immigration at the southern border, and send aid to Israel and Ukraine. Presidential budget proposals are typically seen as wish lists in which an administration lays out its policy priorities because passage needs support from the deeply divided U.S. legislature. Many of the requests are all but assured to fail. On Monday, the budget was sent to the Congress, which will cover the 2025 fiscal year beginning in October. It is mainly significant because it outlines Biden's platform heading into November's presidential election, in which he is on track to face former President Donald Trump, the man he defeated in the 2020 race. The proposed budget largely seeks to raise taxes on corporations and the wealthiest Americans to pay for an array of social programs as matters of the purse weigh heavily on voters' minds. The tax policies are widely a reaction to sweeping 2017 tax legislation passed by Republicans under Trump, which cuts the corporate tax rate from 35% to 21%. Biden's proposal will hike the tax rates to 28%. It will also seek to assure that those with wealth of more than $100 million pay at least 25% of their annual income in taxes. The budget will bring back a child tax credit for low and middle income earners, fund childcare programs, funnel $258 billion to building homes, and provide paid family leave for workers. It also includes efforts to fight climate change, lower prescription drug and healthcare costs, and protect the safety net program's Social Security and Medicare. According to the White House, the proposal vows to cut annual deficit spending by $3 trillion over 10 years, slowing but not halting the growth of the $34.5 trillion national debt. On most stories, a survey says ANC may lose majority in South Africa. On May 29th, approximately 27 million South Africans are already registered to cast a ballot in the country's key national elections. In the past months, polls some contested have consistently predicted the ruling African National Congress ANC could lose its majority in parliament for the first time. Since the ruling African National Congress ANC came to power with the fall of the apartheid 30 years ago, it has always won a single national poll. However, many elections project that the party once led by Nelson Mandela will slip below 50% of the vote. The Johannesburg-based Brenthos unveiled on an election on March 8th. The survey conducted by YSB Strategy earlier this year and shows that the Southern African nation will almost certainly have a coalition government after this election, as the ANC has slid further to 39% of the vote. 1,506 registered voters participated in the survey. The results have been modeled on the basis of the 66% turnout of the last general election in 2019. Over half, 53%, said the ANC government of the last 3 decades was to blame for the issues the country faces, followed by 11% who said apartheid was to blame. The continent's most developed economy battles with issues including record unemployment and electricity crunch that led to crippling blackouts for homes and businesses and widespread voter mistrust following a stream of corruption allegations over the years. The respondents list unemployment to 88%, corruption 27%, load shedding 17%, and weak leadership 12%, and crime 11% as pressing issues. Still in African scene, Libyan leaders to form unified government to oversee elections. Representatives of Libya's rival administrations have promised to form a unified government. On Sunday, the head of the country's presidential council, the Speaker of the Eastern-based House of Representatives, and the head of the Western-based High Council of State met in Cairo, Egypt. The meeting was convened by the Arab League Secretary General. The attendees agreed on the following: first, emphasizing on the sovereignty, independence, and the unity of the Libyan soil, and the rejection of any foreign intervention that affects the Libyan political process negatively, Ahmed Abul Gait said. Secondly, considering the political agreement and what follows it, a technical committee will be formed within a given time frame to look into the proper amendments that expand the base of consensus in the work that was executed, the 6+6 committee, and to finalize the unsettled matters regarding the points of disagreement in accordance to the legislations in force. The committee is in the Joint Committee of the House of Representatives and the High Council of State for the preparation of electoral laws. The Libyan actors in attendance emphasized the necessity of establishing a unified government tasked with supervising the electoral process and providing essential services to Libyans. The country's present political chaos was exacerbated by the failure to hold elections on December 24, 2021, and the refusal of Prime Minister Abdul Hamid Deiba, who led a transitional government in the capital of Tripoli, to step down. The country's East-based parliament appointed a rival prime minister that governs the east half of the country in reaction. I'm Patu. I'll bring you more stories from Nigeria. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Now, stories from Nigeria says Tinubu urges governors to pay wage award. Yesterday, President Tinubu directed governors to continue to pay workers in their state employee wage award till discussions on new minimum wage were completed. He also said Nigerians had no reason to be hungry as the country had the capacity to feed her people and have sufficient for export. Tinubu, who stated this when he flagged off the food security and agriculture mechanization program in Niger State, stressed that his administration remained committed to making sure there's food sufficiency and protecting local industries for sustainable economic growth. The project, an initiative of Niger State government, is for the deployment of cutting-edge agricultural machinery and technology for large-scale agro-value chain development in the state. President Tinubu, while speaking at the inauguration, said the event signified another step in the food security and agricultural mechanization agenda, stating that Nigeria must improve its volume to feed its people and have enough for export. He urged subnational government as an instant intervention strategy to implement wage awards in their states to complement the efforts of the federal government in lessening the burden of citizens pending when the minimum wage was increased. Appreciating the president for honoring his invitation and inaugurating the facilities, Governor Muhammad Umar Bago said 4 states, including Benue, Kogi, Kwara, and Lagos, had already signed memorandum of understanding on building partnerships for the development of agriculture. Senator Abubakar Kyari, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, revealed that the federal government has signed an agreement with the Brazilian government and German Deutsche Bank Group as financiers of the facility of 995 million euros for the Green Imperative program, which will provide mechanization centers across the 774 local government areas in Nigeria when implemented. Finally, on the news on alleged budget padding, senators condemn Ningi. Arguments over the assertion of budget padding against the presidency and Senate President Godswill Akpabio by Senator Abdul Ningi is still strong in the Senate. Although Ningi refuted making the claim in his interview with the British Broadcasting Corporation BBC Hausa Service, his colleagues in the Northern Senators Forum NSF have renounced the People's Democratic Party PDP senator from Bauchi Central District. Ningi had claimed in the interview that the Northern Senators Forum had revealed imbalance in padding of the 2024 budget to the tune of 3 trillion naira. He also said the forum will soon confront Senate President Godswill Akpabio with the discoveries of consultants it involved to inspect the budget and meet the president on the issues. At a news conference in Abuja, Ningi, who chairs the NSF, maintained that 3.7 trillion naira was loafing, saying the funds were not accompanied by any proposed project. Senator Jimo Ibrahim Ondo South, running at Ningi's outburst, called for the detention and prosecution of Ningi for giving false information. The Senate may be in for a stormy plenary today as senators meet to take a position on the allegations. I am not afraid of suspension, says Ningi, but he denies, saying that President Bola Tinubu was operating two separate 2024 budgets. The senator explained that his interview was misrepresented, stressing that he granted it in Hausa and not in English. And now, still on the news, bandits kill 7, many wounded in Plateau Market. On Monday, no less than 7 persons were confirmed dead after bandits attacked a market in the Wase local government area of Plateau State. The attack, which happened at Zurak Company Market on Sunday afternoon, also left numerous others wounded. Abdullahi Hussaini, a youth leader in the community who confirmed the incident on Monday, said the bandits arrived at the markets when it was busy around 2 p.m. and opened fire on the people transacting their business, which led to the death of the victims. The spokesperson for the State Police Command, Alfred Alabo, confirmed the attack but said 4 and not 7 persons were killed. Alabo said, and I quote, "We are aware of the Zura Company incident. 4 persons died and 6 persons who were injured are receiving treatment. Meanwhile, we have deployed our men to the area while investigation continues." According to reports, the Wase local government area, situated over 200 kilometers from Jos, the capital city of Plateau State, had suffered numerous bandit attacks and kidnaps in the past. The community knew a brief reprieve before the Sunday attack. Another look at the top stories. Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry resigns amid chaos. Russia detains South Korean for alleged espionage. Orban alleges Trump won't aid Ukraine. India on edge of over-religion-based citizenship law. And Biden's 2025 budget includes tax reforms, border funds, and others. And that's all on the news. Thanks for watching. I am Lois Direct.